Militia in the Amhara region of Ethiopia are currently in an armed conflict with the government. But the fighting has caused a humanitarian disaster. The paramilitary groups jointly called the Fano accuse the government of committing genocide against the Amhara people, something the government denies. Well, in recent years, the Ethiopian government has faced uprisings in the country's most powerful and populous regions, Tigray, Oromia, and now Amhara. Several aid agencies have called on the government to negotiate with the rebel groups. Now, in an exclusive interview, the BBC Focus on Africa spoke to Eskinder Nega, who's a Fano paramilitary leader. The interview was conducted via satellite phone. Let's now speak to our reporter, Albert Kirui, who joins us in studio, who got access to this interview. Thanks for that great work. Maybe just help unpack that interview a little bit by telling us what was the group, or what is the group that you spoke to asking for?
So the key word here is what they call systematic oppression. They say that for very many years they're fighting for an injustice, because they say that for so many years, since very many years ago, the Ethiopian government has been subjected them to an injustice in that region. They say that the key word there is because of the fact that there's an injustice that's happening in Amhara, and because of that they took arms. Now, that is a more general angle. The more specific angle goes back to the Pretoria Agreement, which was signed in November of 2022. They say that because of that agreement, Amhara region felt left out. They fought with the government against TPLF, and when we went to negotiations in Pretoria, they were not given a chance to express their interests, and because of that they took up arms, because they feel that the government coerced them into ignoring their interests in the interest of others. So because of that they feel like they want to fight and get their justice for the people of Amhara. Now, at the cost of all this is civilians. The humanitarian situation there is dire. Civilian population there have continued to suffer because of the fighting.
That's correct. And
because of that, the situation, according to Mr. Nega, expressed has displaced many people, which he says into thousands of people, with others who have been killed.
All right.
Now, there is no way of verifying that information, because as you say, we spoke to him on a satellite phone in Amhara, a region where the government has blocked internet access. Here is what he had to say, some of what he had to say.
In the areas that we occupy, in the areas that we have liberated, in the areas, like I said, between 80 and 90% of the region that we control and administer, there is dire need of humanitarian assistance. This has been the case in the Amhara region for decades. Now when war comes into the play, the humanitarian need inevitably gets exasperated.
Well, what else did he tell you?
Well, we did ask him about the human rights situation there, and he said he's open to an investigation by the UN to determine the human rights situation in Amhara. He also expressed what he says is a need to relook at the constitution of Ethiopia, because he says the current constitution takes a look at Ethiopia as an empire when it's a nation state. He also said that the only solution for a long-term fix into that situation is the fact that they need to resolve that problem through peace negotiations. Here is what they have to say.
This is no time for cosmetic change. This is no time for half-hearted measures. We need to address the issue from its source. We need to understand that there's a threat of genocide in this country, and we need to tackle it. And the place to start is the Constitution.
And indeed, a lot had been said in that interview, which the government denies. Albert Kirui, thanks so much for following up that for us. We truly appreciate.